3 in the morning and you're rereading a text for the 5th time, trying to figure out what it actually means. An hour ago, they were telling you they'd never felt this close to anyone. Now they've gone quiet, and the silence feels like it's swallowing the whole relationship. You didn't do anything. Nothing changed. Except everything did. If you've dated someone whose warmth and distance seem to switch without warning, you already know this feeling. It has a name. It's what happens when an anxious attachment style meets a fearful-avoidant one. And it's one of the most disorienting pairings in relationships, because both people are telling the truth, and the truth keeps changing. Here's what's actually happening underneath. The fearful-avoidant partner wants closeness, and fears it in equal measure, sometimes in the same hour. Their nervous system doesn't experience intimacy as safety. It experiences intimacy as exposure. So when things get close, something in them pulls back, not because the connection failed, but because the connection worked. It got close enough to trigger the old alarm. The anxious partner reads that retreat the only way their own wiring knows how to read it, as evidence they're about to be left. So they move toward it. More contact, more reassurance seeking, more attempts to close the gap. And for the fearful-avoidant partner, that pursuit can feel like the exposure getting worse, which triggers another retreat. Neither person is doing this on purpose. That's the part that's hard to hold on to in the middle of it, because from the inside, it looks like sabotage. It isn't. It's two automatic systems responding to each other in real time, each one making the other's fear more true. The specific thing that makes this pairing so destabilizing, more than an anxious-avoidant pairing even, is inconsistency without a pattern. A consistently avoidant partner is at least predictable. You learn where the wall is. A fearful-avoidant partner doesn't have one wall. They have a wall that appears and disappears depending on how safe they felt an hour ago, which you often can't predict from the outside. Take a fairly ordinary week. Monday, they're texting first, making plans, telling you things they've never told anyone. Wednesday, nothing. Not cold, exactly. Just gone. One word replies, hours apart, no explanation offered, and none that would make sense if you asked. Friday, they show up at your door because they missed you, and it's real. You can feel that it's real. Sunday, they cancel plans they made themselves 2 days earlier. None of these 4 days contradicts the others from their side. Each one made sense to them in the moment. From your side, you're left trying to build one coherent story out of 4 incompatible data points, and there isn't one. Because the story isn't a story, it's a nervous system oscillating between 2 states faster than either of you can track. This is where intermittent reinforcement comes in, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. When affection is unpredictable, the brain doesn't disengage from it. It fixates on it harder. Every time the fearful-avoidant partner comes back, warm again, present again, saying the things that felt true the first time, the anxious partner's brain doesn't file that as things are stable now. It files it as a reward. And rewards that arrive unpredictably are the ones the brain chases hardest. So the anxious partner ends up more attached to the unpredictability than they would have been to something steady. Not because the unpredictability is what they want, but because that's how intermittent reward works on a nervous system already scanning for signs of abandonment. The relationship starts to feel less like a relationship, and more like trying to solve a puzzle that keeps changing its own rules. And the more unsolvable it feels, the harder the anxious partner tends to work at solving it, which is the opposite of what actually helps. This is also why people in this dynamic often describe feeling like they're losing their grip on their own judgment. It's not that the anxious partner is bad at reading people. Usually the opposite is true. They're often unusually attuned to small shifts in tone or energy. The problem is that the thing they're reading doesn't hold still long enough to draw a reliable conclusion from it. Normally, being a good reader of people means your read gets more accurate the more data you gather. Here, more data just means more contradictory data, because the fearful-avoidant partner's behaviour genuinely isn't coming from a single consistent place. two people can watch the exact same week of a relationship and one of them will see instability everywhere, because for them it is everywhere. From the anxious partner's side, the withdrawal reads as rejection. From the fearful-avoidant partner's side, the withdrawal is self-protection. And often, they don't consciously register that it looks like rejection from the outside at all. They're not thinking, I need to create distance to punish you. They're thinking, often without words for it, this is too much, I need air, and then feeling confused later when their partner is hurt, because in their head, nothing hostile happened. Take one specific moment. They're lying next to each other, it's quiet, it's close, and the fearful-avoidant partner suddenly gets up to check their phone for no clear reason. To the anxious partner watching this happen, that's a withdrawal with a cause. Something must have shifted, something must be wrong. And the search for what it was starts immediately. To the fearful-avoidant partner, there was no decision at all. Their body just needed distance, the way you'd need to loosen a collar that's gotten too tight, and the phone was simply the nearest reason to move. Neither of them is lying about what happened. They're describing two different events that occurred in the same 3 seconds. This mismatch is where a lot of the losing your mind feeling comes from. The anxious partner is responding to something real, a felt shift in closeness, but interpreting it through a lens of imminent abandonment that isn't actually what's happening. The fearful-avoidant partner is responding to something real too, a felt sense of threat. But that threat is coming from inside their own nervous system, not from anything their partner did. Both readings feel completely justified in the moment. Both are partially accurate and partially wrong. And because neither person has full visibility into what's driving the other, the relationship can start to feel like two different versions of reality running at the same time, with neither person able to prove theirs is the correct one. Over months, this is exhausting in a specific way. Not the exhaustion of conflict, but the exhaustion of never being sure which version of events is the one actually happening. It's worth saying plainly, neither partner is the villain in this story, and neither read is simply wrong. The anxious partner's vigilance isn't paranoia, it's a system that learned, somewhere, that missing early signs of disconnection was costly, so it stopped missing them. The fearful-avoidant partner's retreat isn't coldness. It's a system that learned closeness itself could be dangerous, so it built an exit built into every entrance. Both are doing exactly what they were built to do. The tragedy of this pairing isn't that one person is broken and the other isn't. It's that two working alarm systems, each responding accurately to its own history, end up reading each other as the threat. This pairing often comes with an intensity that other steadier relationships don't have, and that intensity gets mistaken for depth. Part of that is the intermittent reinforcement already covered, but part of it is more specific to this combination. The anxious partner's hyper-awareness of the relationship and the fearful-avoidant partner's oscillation between vulnerability and withdrawal can create moments of real unguarded closeness, usually right after a retreat, when the fearful-avoidant partner lets their guard back down and it feels like getting the real them for the first time. There's a reason those moments hit as hard as they do. The anxious partner has spent the hours or days before that moment in a heightened state, scanning for any sign of reconnection, which means when the reconnection finally comes, it lands on a nervous system that's primed to feel it intensely. And the fearful-avoidant partner, having just come through their own retreat, often arrives at that moment with less of their usual guard up, because the retreat did its job of making them feel safe enough to come back. Two nervous systems, each altered by what just happened, meeting at what feels like peak honesty. It's not fake, it's just not typical of what closeness feels like in a relationship that isn't running on this cycle. Those moments are genuine. That's what makes this so hard to walk away from, and why people in this dynamic often describe it as the most intense connection they've had. But genuine moments inside an unstable pattern don't make the pattern stable. They make it more convincing, because the brain doesn't average out an experience over months. It remembers the peaks, and the peaks in this dynamic are unusually high. For the anxious partner, the work isn't to stop wanting closeness. That instinct isn't the problem. It's learning to tolerate uncertainty without treating every silence as confirmed rejection and building enough of a sense of self outside the relationship that one person's retreat doesn't feel like the ground disappearing. In practice, this often looks like something small and unglamorous, noticing the urge to text again and waiting 20 minutes before acting on it. Not because the urge is wrong, but because that pause is where the nervous system gets a chance to catch up with reality instead of running ahead of it. For the fearful-avoidant partner, the work is recognising the retreat as it's happening, rather than only understanding it in hindsight, and learning that closeness followed by withdrawal, repeated enough times, teaches a partner's nervous system to expect the withdrawal, even during the good moments. In practice, this can be as simple as naming it out loud in the moment it starts. I need a bit of space, it's not about you, rather than disappearing without a word and explaining it 3 days later, if at all. The content of the retreat doesn't have to change immediately. The visibility of it does. Predictability, even in small doses, does more for this dynamic than intensity ever will. Neither side of this can be solved by the other person trying harder to manage it. Reassurance from an anxious partner won't override a fear response in a fearful-avoidant one, and stillness from a fearful-avoidant partner won't override hypervigilance in an anxious one. Both sides are wiring, not character, which means both sides are changeable, just not by the other person doing more. This is also where a lot of well-meaning advice falls apart. Just communicate more assumes the fearful-avoidant partner has conscious access to what's happening in the moment it's happening, and often they don't. The retreat can feel automatic, almost pre-verbal, until well after it's over. Just give them space, assumes the anxious partner can simply choose not to feel the alarm. When the alarm isn't a choice, it's a threat response firing before the thinking part of the brain gets a vote. Real change here is slower than either of those instructions suggests, and it usually involves outside support, a therapist, a somatic practice, something that works with the nervous system directly rather than trying to argue with it. That's not a failure of the relationship, it's just what this particular wiring actually requires. This pairing feels unstable because it is, not because either person is doing something wrong on purpose. The anxious partner's nervous system is scanning for abandonment. The fearful-avoidant partner's nervous system is scanning for exposure. Both are defending against something real, just not against each other. Understanding that doesn't fix the pattern by itself. But it's the difference between thinking your relationship is broken and understanding that two protective systems are colliding, which is where change actually starts. In the next video, we look at what happens when only one side of that equation is unpredictable. Anxious meeting secure. It's a very different dynamic, and it shows what's possible when the ground stops shifting,